I want to tell you a story about a girl named Lisa. On social media, Lisa lived a dream life. She posted photos sipping lattes at fancy cafes, posing in designer outfits, walking through expensive hotels like she belonged there. Her feed was filled with gold tones, luxury cars in the background, and perfectly filtered selfies. People admired her, some were jealous, others wanted to be just like her. But no one knew what was behind those pictures. At night, Lisa returned to a tiny, cluttered apartment at the edge of the city. The walls were cracked, the curtains were secondhand. She shared the space with her younger sister, who didn't even have her own room. Every day, Lisa worked at a small convenience store. Her salary barely covered their bills. She skipped meals just to afford the cheapest version of a luxury look, something she could post online. You see, Lisa believed that being rich meant being loved. And being loved was all she ever wanted, so every post was carefully planned. Every smile was practiced, every angle, every filter perfect. But her reality was a world built on borrowed moments and silent loneliness. But behind every photo Lisa posted, there was a lie. The coffee she posed in? She ordered the cheapest drink on the menu and asked for it to go just to take a picture by the window. The designer bag? Borrowed from a thrift store that allowed short-term rentals. She had to return it by 5 p.m. that day. The hotel room with the perfect view? She snuck into the lobby, took a few photos, and left before anyone could ask questions. At home, her sister watched her through tired eyes.
Why do you pretend to be someone else?
Lisa didn't answer. Instead, she smiled and opened her editing app. Sometimes, late at night, Lisa stared at the screen and wondered, if people knew the real me, would they still care? But then, she'd get another like, another follower, and for a moment, that was enough to silence the doubt. She wasn't addicted to fame. She was addicted to being seen, even if the girl they saw wasn't really her. One day, Lisa was invited to an influencer event, a real, glamorous rooftop party filled with the people she admired online. It was her dream come true, but dreams have shadows. Lisa had borrowed a dress, tag still hidden, shoes too tight. She rehearsed her smile in the elevator mirror, trying to believe she belonged. The lights were dazzling, the music was loud, but nothing could drown out the small voice in her head. What if they find out? Someone complimented her bag.
Limited edition, right?
Lisa laughed and nodded, but the truth clung to her like the price tag she forgot to remove. Then it happened. A popular influencer recognized the dress from a public rental site. Whispers started. Eyes turned. Lisa felt their gaze, curious, judging, amused. Her heart pounded. Her throat tightened. She slipped away, leaving behind the rooftop, the lights, the false friends. Down the street, she sat on the curb in silence, her heels off, her phone buzzing. Notifications still lit up her screen. People still believed the illusion. But for the first time, Lisa didn't want to open the app. She didn't want to lie anymore. Just for one night, she wanted to be real. The next morning, Lisa stayed in bed longer than usual. Her phone lay face down on the nightstand, silent for once, no filters, no curated captions, just the quiet hum of the city beyond her window. She stared at the ceiling, wondering who she was without the sparkle, without the story. And then she did something unexpected. She went to the kitchen, made a simple cup of coffee, and sat by the window. For the first time in forever, she wasn't thinking about what to post. She just watched the world go by. It was oddly peaceful. Later that day, she took a walk around her neighborhood. No makeup, no fancy clothes, just Lisa. She passed by a small bookstore she hadn't noticed in years. On impulse, she stepped inside. There was an old man behind the counter. He smiled.
You look like you need a good story,
he said. Lisa smiled back, gently. She spent hours there, flipping through pages of quiet lives and honest struggles. It felt real, and maybe that was what she had been missing all along. Not followers, not likes, but something real. That night, she posted something different. A photo of a park bench and her half-read book. No hashtags, no edits. Just a simple caption.
Today, I felt like myself.
She didn't expect anyone to care, but the comments surprised her. Not the usual fire emojis or fashion questions, but messages like,
This is beautiful. I relate to this more than you know. Thank you for being real.
It wasn't fame, it wasn't glamour, but it was connection, and that felt like the beginning of something new. Lisa didn't become a different person overnight. She still had moments when she missed the thrill of being admired, of living in a world of filtered perfection. But now, those moments didn't control her. She started sharing less of the fantasy and more of the truth. Her breakfasts weren't always aesthetic. Her clothes weren't always new. And sometimes, her smile came with tear stains. But strangely, her followers didn't disappear. In fact, they grew, not in numbers, but in meaning. People began opening up, their insecurities, their quiet victories, their real lives. Lisa had built something she never expected, a space where being imperfect was okay. One afternoon, she sat on the same park bench from her last post, a book in her lap, a phone resting beside her, off. A little girl passed by and waved. Lisa smiled and waved back. The world around her didn't need her to be rich, perfect, or admired. It just needed her to be present. She looked up at the sky, a soft breeze brushing her face. And for the first time in years, her heart felt light. Not because she had it all, but because she had enough. She whispered to herself,
This is the life I choose. Not to impress, but to feel.
And just like that, Lisa's story didn't end. It simply began again,